the session number 2 of 100 most expected CMAT questions from the topic of innovation and entrepreneurship. So for those of you who have not been a part of this, who have missed some sessions, let me give you a brief idea of what has happened till now. I started this innovation and entrepreneurship with 5 theory sessions where I have covered a lot of concepts with practice questions from each of the concepts. So I have spent I think 5 classes on this. In each class I have taken a set of topics to be discussed. I have discussed questions based on the topics, explained the logic behind them. After those 5 theory classes are done, I have started this series of 100 most expected CMAT questions. This is going to be another series of 5 topics, or rather 5 sessions, where in each session we're going to talk about 20 questions. And here there is less of theory. It's more on practice of the questions. And whenever applicable, I will bring back the theory that we discussed. But unlike maths, there's not much to explain here, right? It's a little bit of remembering of this and that, and that's all there is to it. But these are 100 of the most important questions that we expect to come in CMAT, although CMAT asks only 25 questions. So obviously we don't know which exact 25 come. So that's what we are doing as a part of this session. This is the second session. The first session was taken few days back. This is the second session, and as I said, in this there is no such thing as theory. So let's straight away get into the problems. The questions rather, not the problems. This is not a problem to be solved. This is more of a question to be answered. So we have a mix of questions based on theory and some questions which are directly GK based. Because as I said, last year and the last before year paper, if you analyze, you did get theory based questions. You also got questions which are directly based on the general knowledge of yours from this area. So that's what there is. So let's go ahead with the first question today. Right, so here is the first question, my friends. What is the title of the authorized biography of JRD Tata? Okay, so let's go ahead and see how many of you have given the correct answer. And okay, there's some problem here. Let me just, yes, right. So the correct answer is Beyond the Last Blue Mountain. This is, okay, there are many, so the important part is the authorized biography of JRD Tata, which means Mr. Tata, JRD Tata has kind of given his consent for this kind of a biography, saying that I am okay with this. This is kind of really depicting what has happened. Okay. So that's the name of the book, Beyond the Last Blue Mountain. Moving on to the second question, the process. Now, if you notice, previous one was a pure GK question. Here we are talking about based on what we learned in the theory. So this is a question based on theory. The process of gathering information about market or socio-economic trend is called. It's a very simple question. If you see the options, the answer will be in front of you. It's nothing to scratch your head about. Quickly give me your answers, guys. Very good. The correct answer happens to be option D, environmental scanning. It's very obvious, right? Socio-economic trends, you are basically trying to understand. So scanning is basically understanding, seeing, trying to see what is happening. So that's where your answer is, and it's environmental scanning straight away. Once again, this is a GK question, so it's a mix of GK and theory-based questions, and very interesting. Many of you will get this wrong, I'm pretty sure. But let's go ahead and see what the correct answer happens to be. India's first live payments bank was launched by. Now, payments bank was a very innovative concept at a point in time. So this was first launched by which of these entities? Aditya Birla Idea, Cholamandalam, Bharti Airtel and Paytm. Quite a few of you given Paytm as expected, but this is not the correct answer. As you can see, the correct answer is C, Bharti Airtel. Airtel was one of the first companies to launch the Paytm Bank. Okay, there's a difference between Paytm Bank and what Payments Bank, my bad. It is one of the first companies to launch Payments Bank, whereas what Paytm started off with is not a payments bank per se. It got converted into a payments bank later on, but initially it was not a payments bank. So many of you, as I said, will be getting the wrong idea. It's not Paytm. Okay. Which one of the following ministry publishes the Economic Survey of India? So this basically happens every year. Who does this? Which of these branches of the ministry publishes it? If it is Economic Ministry of India, you should be able to guess the answer correctly, or at least you should be able to guess the top two possible options. Let us see. How many of you get the correct answer? Yes, many of you are getting the right answer here. It is definitely not external affairs. External affairs deals with, Mr. Jaishankar, he is the external affairs minister. US does say something, we pull up US and say, hey, don't bother about what we are doing here. Sri Lanka says something, we talk to them. So basically, external affairs is a person who represents India in the outside world on a day-to-day business. Right? So that's not your answer at all. Then it could be either Ministry of Commerce or Ministry of Finance. Again, not Statistics and Program Implementation. So it is not a Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, because you're talking about economic survey. So is it going to be done by Ministry of Finance or Ministry of Commerce and Industry? If you got any one of these two and finalized here, you should ideally take a 50% guess. In an exam also, if you are shortlisting two options, don't scratch your head too much, because frankly speaking, if you didn't know the answer to this, by logic you have said A or C, no matter how much you think, you will not get the correct answer, because the answer is not in your head. You used logic to a certain point. After that, neither logic nor facts are going to help you, because fact is not there with you and logic already helped you. It can't help you further. So don't waste your time. Just pick one, A or C, and get out. Incidentally, the correct answer happens to be Finance, Ministry of Finance. But there is still a 50% chance for you to get the correct answer and get out of this question. Right? So keep that in mind, guys. Whenever you eliminate options, don't worry too much about, okay, what is the correct answer among the other two. Please remember, you are not able to get the answer directly simply because you don't know the answer. So smartly you have reduced the number of options. Don't be stupid after that by wasting another minute trying to decide what is the final answer. Unless it is like English, which I still understand that you will debate this, that. Even there I would say whatever comes to your mind first, please mark it. But anyway, that's a different discussion. In this kind of questions, you eliminate as much as you can of the remaining, mark, tick one and get out. Okay. Next, which city is ranked as one of the world's 5 fastest growing startup cities in India? It's a very straightforward answer. Nobody should get this wrong. I'm sure all of you know this, the answer to this. But just in case, let's see. Okay, I got only one wrong answer as of now. Cool. So the correct answer, yes, happens to be Bangalore. It has the maximum number of startups. I think the top cities with startups are Bangalore. Then you have, I'm not writing the correct order because I myself am not sure, but I'm definitely sure Bangalore is the capital of startups or the startup hubs by a mile. But the other good cities are Mumbai. Then you have Mumbai. Then you have Delhi, NCR. So NCR, when I say Gurgaon, Noida, all of them included. Then you have Hyderabad, of course, Pune. Pune will be lesser than all others. So definitely I would say Mumbai and Delhi more or less same and greater than Hyderabad, and then there is Pune. So that's how I would put them. So that's the order. If I might be wrong, but mostly this is correct. But yeah, these are the top cities where startups are coming up a lot. And yes, there is Chennai to a certain extent. Chennai to a certain extent, not to a great extent. Okay, let's move on. Which country is number one in ease of doing business from the last 4 years from 2017? Again, if you are smart, you will be getting the answer if you have been following the news. Let's see which country has been rated number one continuously last 4 years from 2017. So 18, 19, 20, 21. Which country is that? Canada, Norway, United States, New Zealand. Alright, so let's see what the correct answer is. The correct answer happens to be option D, New Zealand. So New Zealand is one of the countries which is rated as a country with ease of doing business. Now we need to understand what is the meaning of ease of doing business. For those of you who's not from the business background or who's not done any business before, or not seen business in close quarters in your family, what you need to understand is the ease of doing business is first having transparency in laws. You should know what is required for me to set up a business, how easy is it for me to set this business up, and secondly, what happens if I want to wind down the business, how easy is it for me to wind down the business, thirdly, how transparent is the system which grants permissions. For example, if I say, okay, there is a system where you have to get clearance number 1, clearance number 2, clearance number 3, you have to get this permission, that permission. I have 25 permissions. Now, what is the criteria to get each of these permissions? They are under some person or some government employee. Now, how transparent is the process there? Are they asking for something in return? Are they very fair to me? I don't know. So these things, the clearer they are, the easy it is for me to do business. So the opacity or the transparency of this entire process basically, and there are of course a lot of other factors also. I'm just putting it in a very, very rudimentary format in front of you. But yeah, there is an index which looks at probably 15-20 parameters and then takes a weighted average of all of these parameters. Based on that rating, New Zealand has been rated number 1. Okay. By the way, guys, before we move on, please understand, we have a CMAT specialized course. It's already started. We have 20 plus CMAT live lectures, 50 engaging videos, and we have 5 CMAT mocks for you. And of course, we have a ton of practice questions in case you need a lot of practice. And we will also give you 10 sectional tests. What is a sectional test? Sectional test is basically, if you look at, for example, CAT, there are 3 sections. You have English, that is VARC, you have DILR, and you have Quant. So only the test for English separately, only the test. So it'll give you 40 minutes and 24 questions from English, 40 minutes and 20 questions from DILR, 40 minutes and 22 questions from your Quant, that way. Similarly, if you look at CMAT, you'll still again have each section and a sectional test there. So these are the things which are included in this course. If you're interested, please go ahead and click on I'm interested button on your app. We'll give you a call back. Moving on. Next is a very interesting question, guys. This is a passage. Okay, I want you guys to read the passage very, very slowly. Understand the passage. It is more of an RC. Okay, but this RC is not just any RC. It is RC based on innovation and entrepreneurship. It's a RC based on entrepreneurship, and the questions that follow are also based on entrepreneurship. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go slide by slide so that you guys can read, understand, digest. Unfortunately, the only way that I can do this is to let you read, and you don't have to by heart obviously, but at least note down the important points. Okay, so let's take a look at this. In contrast, so I'll not read it out aloud, you guys please do it. I'll give you about 30 seconds for the first passage, and there are 4 or 5 slides of passage. So let's take one at a time. First slide here. Okay, so now I'll read it out aloud. In contrast to traditional analysis, so which means there is a traditional analysis of minority businesses, there is something called as a sociological analysis, which is not the traditional analysis. So in contrast to traditional analysis of minority business, the sociological analysis contents. What is the meaning of contents? Contents means it argues that minority business ownership is a group level phenomena, in that it is largely dependent upon the social group resources for its development. So minority business, so basically what sociological analysis argues, it says that it is a group level phenomena. The growth, the development of it is based on the social group and the resources of the social group. This is basically what the sociological analysis says. It is against, or it is basically different from the traditional analysis. Let's go on and look at it. Now please read this. I'll give you about a minute to read and digest it. Okay, so let's understand this because I don't want to come back here again and again. So let's understand and digest this carefully. This analysis, which analysis, the sociological analysis that we were talking about in the previous slide, indicates that the support network plays critical role in starting and maintaining minority business enterprises. So basically, small business enterprises which are run, they need to have the support of the surrounding people around them in the immediate vicinity. That's what this paragraph explains. By providing owners with a range of assistance. So what kind of assistance or help do you need from the surroundings? Informal encouragement of family members. So basically you are starting a business, a startup, something that you are taking a risk. If your family doesn't support you, it's going to be very difficult. So your family should support you. Friends should be dependable. So somebody should be able to, so let's say I want to run a business and I don't know how to build a website. I can go to a friend and say, hey, can you please help me? The friend should not say, oh yeah, give me money, I'm going to charge this much because I'm a freelancer, I'm an expert in making websites, so I charge 50,000 rupees for every website, you pay me. If he says that, then I don't have that kind of money to start with. So that is the kind of help I'm talking about. I'll tap into my friendship and say that, hey, can you please do me this favor? That guy being my friend says that, or that lady will be my friend and saying that, yes, please, let's do this. Only thing is I can only spend 2 hours a day. It'll take 5 days. I'll say I'm okay with it. I'm not in a hurry because I'm not paying you money. So I'm happy that you're going to help me. So over the next 5-6 days, they're going to help me out in building the website. That is one kind of help. What about labor and clientele? So let us say that I'm starting a business in my area. One of the easiest things that I can talk about is selling it within the area itself. So people know who I am, a very small businessman. They trust me because I'm from their community. So they will easily become my clients if I'm making a good product, right? Again, all this is assuming that you're doing a good job, good product. Similarly, if I want people to help me, as I want to hire somebody, the easiest thing for me is to go to my community and say, look, this is my requirement. Anybody who is interested, I can pay this much. So you decide if you want to join. So that is the easiest way for me to tap into the labor market too, right? From the owner's ethnic group. So ethnic group is basically the community that you belong to, and you're going to search within the community here. I'm not talking about religious community itself per se. It could be any community. For example, I live in an apartment complex. If I've been living here for the last 15 years, I would have known almost everybody in this apartment complex. There are about 1600 families here. So I would have known everyone, and that's a huge base for me if I'm starting a big enough business. Right? I can reach out to somebody because if there are 1500 families, please now imagine each family will have a working man and a woman, probably their kids probably who are working. Some of them will be young, some of them will be in their mid teens, some of them would be working already. Again, there are a lot of people in diverse domains. There could be somebody in a police department, there could be somebody in the law, there could be somebody in the medical department as a doctor or whatever else. So I have all of them within my community, and I can reach out to them for whatever help I need to run my business. So that's what basically this paragraph is talking about. Okay, such self-help networks which encourage and support ethnic minority entrepreneurs consists of primary institutions. So here institutions, don't imagine institution as a company or a big organization. Here they're just talking about primary institution. An institution could be just a family also. An institution is nothing but a group of people, or which have a set of rules to follow. It's as simple as that, right? It could be my family, that could be my primary institution, right? Those closest to the individual in shaping his or her behavior and beliefs. So basically, the institution could be my set of friends, the institution could be my family, the institutions could be my extended family, people who are influencing me and helping me shape into the person that I am, right? They are characterized by face-to-face association. That's what I said. Daily you are if not daily, you are having a face-to-face interaction, you're talking to them, you're interacting with them regularly, right? And cooperation of persons united by ties of mutual concern. So I want to help that person, he wants to help me, because we are mutually dependent on each other, right? So that's the kind of network you're talking about. They form an intermediate social level between the individual and the larger secondary. So now we are talking about the secondary institution based on impersonal relationships. So this primary relationship is about people who are within your vicinity, whom you daily talk to or regularly talk to, face-to-face interactions. You are mutually dependent on each other, or at least they see that they need to help you out. They have a concern for you, and you have a concern for them. That's the network you're talking about. Whereas the secondary institutions are very impersonal. Could be a money lender that you don't know. So I'm going to a bank, and bank lends me money. So that's very impersonal. So they form an intermediate social level between the individual and the larger secondary institution based on impersonal relationships. Primary institutions comprising the support network include, as I said, examples that I've given: kinship. Kinship is family. Peers are my friends of my brethren, people who are of my age and in my area. And neighbors or community subgroups. All these are the examples that I've given you to explain this paragraph. A major function of self-help networks is financial support. As I said, the help could be in terms of labor, that is somebody coming to help. The help could be in terms of knowledge. Somebody has the knowledge to create a website, they can help me. And they can also give me the basic seed money to start something that I want. 4 or 5 of my friends coming together, giving me money to start what I want, with whatever promise I can give them. But they are ready to take that risk of me. My business is risky. I have not done business earlier, but my friends are ready to take that. That's basically is what I'm talking about, financial support. Most scholars agree that minority business owners have depended primarily on family funds and ethnic community resources for investment capital. As I said, one of the biggest advantages that people try to get from your peer group, from your ethnic group, from your family is the funds required to start the business. Okay, please read this. Once again, I'll explain this and then we'll go to the questions. Okay, so let's understand what is happening here. Personal savings have been accumulated often through frugal living habits that require sacrifices by the entire family and are thus a product of long-term family financial behavior. It's very clear you have worked very hard and saved money by being very frugal. What is the meaning of frugal? Frugal is not spending money unnecessarily, being very choosy. Do I really need this? Only then I'll spend the money. That it's not being miserly. It's not being miserly, not conjuice. Frugal is it's a kind of a positive word, not really negative. Basically, somebody who does not spend money unnecessarily. Conjuice is a negative word. You don't spend money at all, even if it is required. Whereas frugal is basically living frugally. Basically means not spending unnecessary money. That's the meaning, right? Additional loans and gifts from relatives forthcoming because of group obligations rather than narrow investment calculations. So remember, when you take money from your friends or your relatives, they don't always say, okay, if I'll give him this, I'll get this kind of percentage, this kind of return. Some of the times they give you money. In fact, most of the times they give you money because this guy I know, let me help him out. Even if I lose a little bit, that's okay. It's my obligation to help me out. For example, if my son or my brother or somebody that I know comes and asks for money for setting up a business, well, I'll try to understand what the business is. But at the end of the day, I will not really be very, very calculative saying that, okay, I'm going to give you 10 lakhs. How much return of investment are you going to give me? Will you give me 20%, 30%? That's secondary. Firstly, I'll say, okay, is the idea good? Is he going to make himself better? If yes, even if it is difficult for me to give the 10 lakhs, I will probably give it to him, saying that I owe it to him because he is my, family. Similarly, relatives, depends on the amount. If you ask a reasonable amount, they might not be very, very picky about it, saying that, okay, how much return am I going to get? That's okay, fine, you are one of us, let's help you out. So because of group obligations, that's what I said, they will give you the money because of the obligation that they see in that request rather than the narrow investment calculation. Have supplemented personal savings. Individual entrepreneurs do not necessarily rely on their kin because they cannot obtain back. So here, look at this. Individual entrepreneurs do not necessarily rely on their kin because they cannot obtain financial backing from commercial resources. They may actually avoid banks because they assume that commercial institutions either cannot comprehend the special needs of minority enterprise, or they charge unreasonably high interest rates. So what is this person talking about in this bracket? Individuals take money from the peers and friends and family, not necessarily because they believe they will not get money from institutions. Rather, they go to these people and they avoid the banks because they feel that either the banks will charge them very high interest rate, or the banks don't understand the need of minority enterprise. Hence, they don't even go there. They try to find it within their community, within the surroundings. Within the larger ethnic community, rotating credit associations have been used to raise capital. So there is something called as a rotating credit association. These associations are informal clubs of friends and other trusted members of the ethnic group who make regular contributions to a fund that is given to each contributor in rotation. One author estimates that 40% of the New York Chinatown firms established during the 1900s to 1950s utilize such associations. So now, I don't know how many of you heard of this. There is something called as chit fund, right? This is the typical example. Earlier, the concept of chit fund started when a group of people came together saying that, look, we want to be a group that can help each other by investing money and giving it to a person who needs. That's how the chit fund concept started. I am not going to explain the entire finance behind chit funds, but you can read up if you're interested. Typically, what happens in chit fund is every month the people contribute money to a central pool, and one of them get to take the pool. But then next month again all of them will contribute, and another person will get to take the pool. You will get to take the pool only once, but after taking the pool you will continue paying that. It's like your EMI. You before the taking also you will pay, after the taking also you pay. You keep continuously paying that fixed amount, but you get to take the money beforehand, right? So that's basically the concept. You can go and read it up later about chit funds. So that's what they're talking about. the rotation credit associations, for lack of better words, I'm using the word chit fund here. So they're saying that in the 1900s and 1950s, New York Chinatown firms, almost 40% of New York Chinatown firms established in this era, that half a century, utilize such associations as their source of capital. Okay, now read this, and I think that's the end of it. Yes, the questions will start. Read this and then we will go to the questions. Okay, so let's take a look at it. However, recent immigrants and third or fourth generation of the older group, so you're talking about 1900s to 1950s, let us imagine that those generations have continued. So you'll be talking about the third or fourth generation today in 2020s. So they are now employing rotating credit associations only occasionally. So at that point it was very, very prevalent, but now not so much. Why? Because some groups like the Black Americans found other means of financial support for their entrepreneurial efforts. So people have moved away from this kind of funding. They're finding other avenues. Okay. The first black operated banks were created in the late 19th century as depositories for dues collected from the fraternal or lodge groups, which themselves had sprung from black churches. Black banks made limited investments in other black enterprises. Irish immigrants in American cities organized many buildings and loan associations to provide capital for home construction and purchase. They in turn provided work for many Irish home building contractor firms. So look at it, very interesting. If you look at this example of Irish immigrants, they are not directly helping their Irish community. What they are saying is, we will give money for building and construction work. And how is that helping the Irish ethnic community? Because at that point in time, majority of the workforce for construction was Irish. So effectively, if I am letting the industry boom because I'm giving loans for that industry, I'm giving job opportunities for these people to construct those homes. So instead of giving them money directly, I'm basically making them get a living out of it, which is a beautiful way of making somebody stand on their feet without doing them a favor. Right? So that's what they did. They in turn provided work for many Irish home building contractor firms. Other ethnic and minority groups followed similar practices in founding ethnic directed financial institutions. So you're not directly helping them out, you're doing it in such a way that you will benefit them, but not directly, indirectly. That's what they're talking about. Black banks made limited investment in other black enterprises. You're not going to help somebody because you're from the same ethnicity, but you're doing in general broadly a particular thing which will underlyingly help your ethnic community. That's what this paragraph is going to, or was trying to explain. Right, so here's the first question. Go ahead, take a look at it and give me the correct answer. You have 1 minute. Yes, now with all the explanation that I've given, this should be fairly easy for you to answer. I'm still getting few wrong answers, but yes, the correct answer happens to be D. Contact with people who are likely to be customers of the new business. See, they'll give you finance initially, moral support, and they can be giving you the labor force required. They can also be the customers of your new business clientele. All of this we have seen clearly. A, B, C are not what was discussed. So D is a part of what was discussed, and that is the reason why it is a correct answer. It is not everything that they give. It's a part of what the community can give you. Okay. Next. Okay, so let's see what is the correct answer here. So the passage supports which of the following statements? So a minority entrepreneur who had no assistance from family members would not be. See, remember guys, in statements like this, never, nobody did. All these are very extreme statements. Extreme statements can straight away be taken out because nobody is saying you cannot succeed if you don't do this. They usually say if you don't do this, the success will be lower. There will always be exceptions. Therefore, A is gone. Self-help networks have been effective in helping entrepreneurs primarily in the last 50 years. Not really. So you can see that 1900s, a century and more ago, people were doing it. So it is not just for the last 50 years. In fact, the author says that over the last few years, that has come down. Right? Direct help has come down. So this is gone. Look at D. Successful minority-owned businesses succeed primarily because of personal strength of their founders. No, the entire passage talks about the community helps you, your primary institutions help you. It is not just because of the primary founder's strength. Yes, you have to be strong, but you tap into your immediate community to get the help. So this is gone and therefore C will be the correct answer. And where did we get this? Where did we get this? We saw that the third, fourth generations are not using those kind of money raising methods anymore. You remember we have discussed that, right? 1900s to 1950s, this is what happened. But 4 or 5 generations later, that is a very small percentage of people who are still using those methods. So that's where the C option comes in. Question number 9. This is very obvious. 3 options can be easily ruled out. Very well, the correct answer happens to be A. Why is it A? Because we saw that people go mostly to their own community and don't go to the banks primarily for 2 reasons. One, they believe the banks charge exorbitant interest rates. They believe so. Or they think that the banks don't understand my needs. So it is not able to help me exactly what, according to what I need. So both these reasons are the reasons why people don't go for small businesses to banks. That is option A. They rush to the banks, straight away is taken out. Avoid national banks. This is never discussed, so this is gone. Never uses his own savings. Remember, they use their money, their family's money, their friends' money. They use all of this pooled together. And again, government loan gone. This was never discussed. So that's your answer. Okay, go ahead. Please answer this. Right, so which of the following shows the working of a self-help support network as it is described in the passage? So let's take a look at it. A public high school offers courses in bookkeeping and accounting as part of its open enrollment adult education program. Okay, next is the local government in a small city sets up a program that helps teenagers find summer jobs. So you're talking about self-help support network. Oh, sorry, I went to the next. Anyway, these 2 are ruled out. Why? Because self-help is within your community, within your group. So government cannot do that, and a public school also is not that example. Let's look at D, and why is it wrong? A community college offers, again, the moment you say community college, it's gone, but let's take a look. Offers country residence training program that can lead to certification again. But if you look at C, a neighborhood based fraternal organization. So it is an organization for a particular neighborhood. Develops a program of on-the-job training for its members and their friends. So now you're talking about a very personal relationship. Therefore, that is your correct answer. 11th question. It's straightforward. In fact, it's a direct passage copy paste. This is a direct passage point which is copy pasted. Minority business ownership is a group level phenomena it is largely dependent upon social group resources for its development. Straight away copy paste it from the passage. Nothing much to scratch your head about. Next. This also is very straightforward, nothing much to think. It's option D. Very clearly that Irish example is not helping the workers directly but indirectly to get construction work. Straight away, that's your answer. Nothing much to scratch your brain about. Okay. Here's an interesting question. So remember, self-help network should be more personal. So the option which is impersonal should be your answer. So clearly, childhood friend is a very personal thing. Aunt is a very personal thing. Religious leader and banker. Now between these two, who is more personal, banker or religious leader? And very clearly the answer is the banker. Because religious leader you still meet on a regular basis. For example, if you are a Christian, you go to church, you go to mass every Sunday, I believe, and you meet your religious leader there. Similarly, you go to a temple, you go to a mosque, whatever, you go regularly if you are a part of that community. So that is more personal than a banker, right? So that's your answer. Next question. Now, without even knowing the logic for this, you can straight away get the answer by looking at extreme scenarios. I already told you, whenever somebody says no one will give, you can say that is wrong. Here, which of them is not correct, which means which of them is wrong? Yes, the answer will be option D. You don't even have to know what else is happening there. Something very extreme saying that you will never succeed, you will never be correct, that was never going to be the case. No. Such things will be straight away ruled out in your RC passages. Without knowing too much of theory, you can get this answer. Okay. Next, 15th question. So here we are now not talking about sociological analysis, we are talking about traditional analysis. So if you remember, the paragraph started by saying that sociological analysis is arguing something different from traditional analysis. Now the question here is, what is the traditional analysis? According to the passage, that traditional analysis of minority business would least likely to do. So based on the arguments of sociological analysis, you are saying that all this is not what traditional analysis does, which means now the question is, what does the traditional analysis do or what it does not do? Least likely means what it does not do. Let's look at the options and come up with your answer. So the correct answer happens to be option A, examine businesses primarily in their social context. Sociological analysis basically does that. So traditional analysis does not do that. Your social context is who are you, where are you from, who's your peer group, how are they helping you, all that. How are your decisions based on your surroundings, your group. So your traditional analysis does not look into that. That's your answer. Okay. Now the RC is done. These are straight away questions based on theory or GK. Go ahead and give me the answer. Again, a very straightforward question based on the theory that we discussed. What's the answer? Individual is both the owner and the conductor of the business affairs. This is called the proprietary firm. Okay. A proprietary firm is somebody where I am the owner and I only run the business and I own everything. It is a single person. Okay, it is not a private limited company, it is not a partnership, it is a proprietary. And I've already discussed the difference between each one of these type of firms. So if you are not aware of this, you missed that session, or if you don't remember it, please go back to one of my previous videos where I've done this in the theory sessions. You will be understanding this. Next. Very interesting question. So delivering food using drones, and anyway it is mentioned that recently registered. So new enterprise is correct. So this is wrong. Existing enterprise is wrong. So it's not an existing company, it is a new company. So it is either A or C. Now the only difference is it a new business concept or is it an existing business concept? That's the question. Now remember, the business concept here is to use drones. That did not exist earlier. So it is a new business concept and therefore answer option A. Right? Next. This is very, very straightforward. We already discussed this a lot in theory. I'm sure you would be knowing this. You will obviously explore opportunity. You have to be, you should have perseverance as a trait. Perseverance is basically not feeling dejected and letting go. You have to continuously keep trying again and again and again. And risk taking. You have to take risks to be successful as an entrepreneur. So the one which is the not a trait is external locus of control. Okay. Next. Executive summary of business plan should be prepared. Now we already discussed this. What is a business plan? What all should it contain? We also saw that it should contain a summary of it at the beginning. But that when should you write it? See, by logic, a summary will be given after everything is written. Right? That's what is called as a summary. How can you give a summary before I write anything? Right? So therefore the answer is after you have written the entire business plan straight away. Very logical, nothing else. The last question for the day, guys. If you remember business plan, it does not have a mission statement. And a mission statement does not talk about viability. Remember, a mission statement, for you to understand, there's something called as a vision and there is something called as a mission. A vision statement for a enterprise or a company or an organization is basically what is this enterprise existing for? What is its, when you say vision, what is its reason for existence? Of course, you have to make money, but that alone cannot be the reason. For example, if I say that there is a company which is trying to reduce the carbon footprint of people or helping companies reduce their carbon footprint, what is their vision could be? Their vision could be to probably over a period of a century or so, it doesn't matter whether you're going to be alive or not. The vision of the company is thinking big, thinking large, thinking long term, saying that, okay, I want to be in a place or I want to, help companies reduce their carbon emissions to zero completely. That could be my vision, saying that, okay, I want to make India carbon free. That's the vision of my company. I'm going to help every company out there, whoever needs help. Now, mission talks about what is the procedure that I'm going to use to do that. So this is more operational, whereas this is more like a goal or reason for existence. It's not exactly a goal also, it's a reason for your existence. Why do you exist? And don't say that I am existing because I want to become a unicorn. That's not the goal. That could be a temporary goal. Vision is what in the long run, over the next 100, 200 years, 300 years, whether you are alive or not, what does your company stand for? Okay. So therefore your A and C are gone. Definitely therefore D will be gone and only B will be left out, and the correct answer happens to be option B. So well, my friends, That brings us to the end of the session. I hope you liked the session and you liked the explanation. If you did like it, please give me a like on this particular video, and do not forget to subscribe to my videos, to the channel. In fact, we are going to come to you with a lot more free videos like this for the CMAT exam. You would have seen already a ton of videos brought to you, and we will not stop it here. We'll keep it going till the exam day. All the very best, my friends. See you in the next one.